Imagine a world where every crisis, every recession, every global upheaval somehow leaves one economic giant standing tall. A country that consistently bounces back, innovates, and grows, defying predictions of decline. That, my friends, is the United States of America. For decades, experts have predicted its economic downfall. They point to national debt, trade deficits, geopolitical rivals. Yet, here we are in 2025, and the US economy remains not just robust, but in many ways unbreakable. Why? What's the secret sauce? It's not just about GDP numbers or stock market highs. It's about a deeply ingrained, almost invisible force that gives the US an unparalleled advantage. Let's uncover the secret reason why the world still bets on America. It all starts with a simple, yet profound concept: the American dream. No, not just the house with a white picket fence, but the fundamental belief that with hard work, innovation, and risk-taking, anyone can succeed. This isn't just a cultural ideal, it's an economic engine. Think about it, where do the greatest minds, the most ambitious entrepreneurs, and the most driven workers still want to go? The United States. This constant influx of talent from every corner of the globe brings fresh ideas, new businesses, and an insatiable hunger for progress. While other nations struggle with aging populations or brain drain, America actively embraces it, turning global ambition into domestic economic power. This wasn't an accident. Post-World War II, as Europe rebuilt, the US solidified its role as a haven for innovation and opportunity. Policies were designed, sometimes implicitly, to attract the brightest and the best, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of growth. This human capital is the foundational layer. But it goes deeper than just people. It's about the ecosystem of innovation that these people find. It's a relentless, almost Darwinian competition that fuels breakthrough after breakthrough. From Silicon Valley to Boston's biotech hubs, America doesn't just tolerate failure, it often sees it as a stepping stone. This cultural acceptance of risk is a critical differentiator. You can fail, learn, and try again, a luxury not always afforded in more rigid economic systems. This isn't a government mandate, it's organic. Venture capitalists put billions into unproven ideas, universities are hotbeds of cutting-edge research, and intellectual property protections are some of the strongest in the world. This creates a fertile ground where small startups can rapidly become global giants, disrupting entire industries and creating entirely new ones. Think of companies like Apple, Google, Amazon, Tesla, all born from this uniquely American environment. They didn't just emerge, they were nurtured by a system designed to accelerate innovation, turning abstract ideas into tangible economic value.
The rest of the world scrambles to catch up, often trying to replicate this magic, but it's difficult to copy a mindset. It's not just about having smart people, it's about having a system that empowers them to unleash their full potential. This continuous churn of new ideas and new companies is a powerful antidote to stagnation, ensuring the economy remains dynamic and adaptable, always finding new avenues for growth even when older industries decline. This brings us to a crucial, often overlooked element: deep and liquid financial markets. The US doesn't just have big banks. It has the most sophisticated and accessible capital markets on Earth. Companies, both domestic and international, flock to U.S. exchanges to raise capital because the sheer volume of investment, the transparency, and the regulatory framework inspire confidence. Whether it's issuing bonds, going public, or attracting private equity, American financial markets provide the grease that keeps the economic engine running smoothly. This isn't just about making rich people richer. It's about allocating capital efficiently to the most promising ideas. A small startup in Texas can access billions of dollars to scale its operations, something far more challenging in many other parts of the world. This financial depth means the U.S. can absorb massive shocks. When a crisis hits, capital doesn't simply vanish. It often flows into the U.S. as a safe haven, further strengthening its position. The dollar's role as the world's primary reserve currency is a symptom, not the sole cause, of this financial dominance. It's a testament to global trust in the stability and liquidity of U.S. markets. Then there's the rule of law and institutional stability. This might sound boring, but it's arguably the bedrock of the entire system. Investors, entrepreneurs, and businesses need predictability. They need to know that contracts will be enforced, property rights respected, and corruption minimized. The U.S. legal and regulatory framework, though sometimes criticized for its complexity, generally provides this assurance. Unlike some emerging economies where political whims can unravel fortunes overnight, the U.S. offers a robust, independent judiciary and established democratic processes that provide a high degree of stability. This means long-term investments are safer and innovation is less likely to be stifled by arbitrary government interference. It creates a fertile ground for wealth creation and retention where people can build for the future with confidence. This stability is a magnet for global capital and talent. When international companies decide where to set up their research and development centers, where to list their shares, or where to invest their profits, institutional stability often trumps lower labor costs or tax incentives. It's the assurance that their efforts won't be undone by sudden shifts in policy or outright confiscation. This is the quiet strength, the invisible infrastructure that makes everything else possible. Without this fundamental trust in the system, the innovative spirit and financial depth would quickly erode. Consider also the sheer size and diversity of the domestic market. The U.S. is not just one economy, it's 50 state economies, each with its own strengths, demographics, and competitive advantages, all united under a single federal system with free movement of goods, capital, and labor. This massive internal market provides a perfect testing ground for new products and services before they go global. Companies can achieve enormous scale within the U.S. alone, giving them a strong foundation to compete internationally. This diversity also acts as a shock absorber. If one sector or region faces a downturn, others can pick up the slack. Think of the vast agricultural output, the manufacturing base, the service industry, the tech sector, each an economy unto itself, yet interconnected. This internal dynamism ensures that even as global trade fluctuates, the U.S. always has a powerful domestic engine to rely on. It's a vast consumption machine, powered by a large middle class that provides consistent demand for goods and services. This internal demand allows companies to grow and refine their offerings, giving them a significant advantage when they eventually look to export. The U.S. isn't just selling to the world. It's buying from itself, creating a self-sustaining cycle of economic activity that provides remarkable resilience against external shocks. Finally, and perhaps most subtly, it's about cultural adaptability and self-correction. The U.S. economy, like its society, is constantly evolving. It embraces new technologies, adapts to changing global dynamics, and often learns from its mistakes. While other economies might cling to outdated industries or protectionist policies, the U.S. has a remarkable ability to pivot. When manufacturing declined, it shifted towards a knowledge-based, service-oriented economy. When the dot-com bubble burst, it spurred new regulations and new tech companies. This ability to continuously reinvent itself, to allow for creative destruction while fostering new growth, is a powerful, almost biological, advantage. It's not always pretty, and it often involves significant short-term pain, but the underlying drive to adapt ensures long-term survival and prosperity. This isn't a top-down mandate, but a bottom-up phenomenon driven by market forces and the entrepreneurial spirit. This cultural adaptability extends to policy. While political debates are often fierce, the underlying consensus around free markets, innovation, and private enterprise remains remarkably strong. This allows for necessary adjustments, even if they come slowly. When a new challenge emerges, whether it's climate change or AI, the U.S. system, however imperfectly, eventually mobilizes its vast resources, intellectual, financial, and human, to address it. This contrasts sharply with nations where rigid state control or ideological dogma can hinder necessary economic evolution. The openness to new ideas, even from critics, and the capacity for internal debate ultimately strengthen the economic framework by allowing for iterative improvements rather than catastrophic ruptures. So, why is the U.S. economy still unbreakable in 2025? It's not one single factor. It's the synergistic blend of these elements, the relentless pursuit of the American dream attracting global talent, the unparalleled ecosystem of innovation that turns ideas into industries, the deep and liquid financial markets that efficiently allocate capital, the unwavering rule of law and institutional stability that provides predictability, the sheer size and diversity of its domestic market, and finally, its inherent cultural adaptability and capacity for self-correction. These forces combine to create an economic powerhouse that is not just resilient but fundamentally dynamic. When other nations falter, America's multifaceted strengths allow it to absorb the shocks, innovate its way out of trouble, and continue to attract the resources needed for future growth. It's a continuous feedback loop of talent, capital, and ideas, all operating within a stable yet adaptable framework. This isn't just power. It's a profound, systemic resilience that makes the U.S. economy a force unlike any other. And that's why, despite all the challenges, the world still views the U.S. economy as the gold standard, the ultimate safe harbor, and truly still unbreakable.